The bright afternoon sun stretched across the open field, bathing every corner in a warm golden glow. Colorful flowers sway gently with the breeze, while beautiful decorations slowly transform the ordinary venue into a place filled with warmth and happiness. There were 5 members in the decoration team, all around the same age. Each of them had their own responsibility, and together they worked with great teamwork to complete every decoration perfectly. Preeti looked around the venue before clapping her hands lightly. Only one decoration remained unfinished. A beautiful floral garland that needed to be secured above the entrance arch. Preeti gently picked it up before walking toward a tall ladder standing beneath the arch. She carefully placed one foot on the first step, then another, slowly climbing higher while holding the flowers carefully in her hands. After reaching the top, Preeti carefully adjusted the floral garland. She moved it slightly to the left, then a little higher. She looked at it from different angles before smiling to herself. Perfect. She slowly prepared to climb back down. But the moment her foot searched for the next step, she missed it. Preeti's eyes widened. Her balance disappeared in an instant. The floral garland slipped from her hands. The ladder shook beneath her feet. Everything seemed to slow down. She instinctively closed her eyes. I'm going to fall. Instead of hitting the ground, she suddenly felt a strong arm supporting her waist, while another hand firmly held her shoulder. The fall never came. Only silence. Preeti slowly opened her eyes. Standing before her was the same handsome man she had met earlier at the hospital. Her heart skipped, not because she was embarrassed, but because the first thought that crossed her mind was completely different. Did something happen to his grandmother? She quickly looked around, but she couldn't see the elderly lady anywhere. When she looked back at the man, she realized something. He was quietly looking at her. without saying a single word. Without even looking away. It was almost as though he had forgotten that he was still holding her. Pretty blinked once before speaking softly. Sir. David finally returned to his senses. He immediately realized he was still holding her. Without saying anything, he carefully helped her stand on her feet. Preeti had barely regained her balance when she tried to take a step backwards, but she couldn't move. She lowered her eyes in confusion. The beautiful floral garland that had slipped from the entrance arch during her fall had wrapped itself around both of them. One end rested loosely around David's shoulder. The other had become caught around Preeti's arm and waist. Every tiny movement only tightened the flowers a little more. For a brief moment, neither of them said a single word. Preeti blinked several times before letting out a small embarrassed sigh. I think we're stuck. David lowered his eyes to look at the flowers. Then he looked back at Preeti. Instead of appearing annoyed, his expression remained calm, almost curious. He quietly watched her without saying anything. Preeti became even more uncomfortable under his silent gaze. She quietly looked away. Please don't move. I'll remove these flowers. She carefully lifted one strand of flowers from David's shoulder. Her movements were slow and careful to avoid damaging the decoration. Every now and then, she accidentally glanced up, only to find David still quietly looking at her. She immediately lowered her eyes again. Inside her heart, questions began filling her mind. Why does he keep looking at me? Did I accidentally do something wrong? Or does he recognize me? The thought made her heartbeat quicken. Almost instinctively, she reminded herself, no, at the hospital I was wearing cis white coat and my face was covered by a mask. He could not possibly recognize me. Thinking that, she quietly let out a sigh of relief. David remained completely silent. She wasn't staring because he recognized her. He simply could not understand why the cheerful young woman standing before him somehow felt strangely familiar. Yet, no matter how much he thought about it, he could not remember ever meeting her. After another few moments, Preeti finally untangled the last strand of flowers. She smiled with relief. There, you're free now. She stepped back before bowing respectfully. I'm really sorry for causing you trouble. She paused briefly, then smiled politely. And thank you so much for saving me. Without waiting for another conversation, Preeti quickly turned around and hurried back toward her teammates. David remained standing exactly where he was. His eyes quietly followed her until she reached the others. For the first time, he noticed something he had not paid attention before. She wasn't attending the function. She was walking. He watched as she smiled while helping arrange flowers, adjusted decorations, and guided her teammates with cheerful energy. A faint smile slowly appeared on his face. So he continued watching her from a distance. She's an event decorator. David looked at Preeti one last time. Then, without disturbing her walk, he quietly turned around and walked away.